So let me introduce myself. I'm Neil Anderson, the Marketing Director, and this is Paul Braden, the Wine Buying Controller. So yeah, we're going to talk about, we think it's time that we now talk up and we actually get proud of this bulk wine industry. I've been in wine for the last 12 years, and it always feels that the bulk wine part of the industry has to apologise for its part within the total business. In fact, just last week I saw there were two articles in the trade press, and I'm not going to mention the publications and I'm not going to mention the journalists, but the two separate articles in two separate publications. One started talking about bulk wine, and then the next line was cheap and cheerful. And another article talked about bulk wine, and it used the word dirty in the first paragraph. So, I think it's time we move on from the negativity of this industry and actually really start to talk about the positives. So you have to ask yourself the question, why is there an element of negativity around some of the messaging around the bulk wine industry? And I think it's because people haven't really properly embraced all the good things that this industry brings to the total wine category. And that's what Paul and I are going to attempt to do in the next 15-20 minutes, is talk about some of the facts that bulk wine delivers and what it brings to the industry. So yes, we're now saying it's time to be proud, time to be positive about this part of this industry, and let's talk about all the good stuff that goes on. So firstly, when you have more cost efficiencies available through bulk wine, it allows us to have better priced products, better quality, and allows us to have more money to invest in the product, whether that's looking at new formats, whether that's insight, as I mentioned earlier, whether that's the quality of the label, whether it's the marketing. The end result is a better product on the shelf for consumers, which has to be a very good thing. And what do consumers think? Well, we'll come on in a second to just to share with you what consumers think here in the UK and what they think is important when they're purchasing a bottle of wine. But I thought it's just worth noticing that of the top selling wine brands in the UK, so the top 10 selling wine brands, 8 of them are either fully bulked and bottled in the UK or are part bulked and bottled in the UK. So 8 out of the 10 top wine brands currently are within the bulk wine industry. And it's better for the global environment. This has got to be important for all of us. We know that environmental pressures and issues are very relevant today, but that it's only going to increase. The spotlight on being environmentally friendly is only going to increase over the next few years. Looking at bulk wine, we know that the bulk wine industry reduces CO2 emissions approximately 40% versus shipping wine in glass around the world. But the environmental savings don't end there. We at Kingsland Drinks, we bring the bulk wine into the Liverpool docks, and then when it comes in, we put it on a barge, and it comes up the Manchester shipping canal, and then we offload it onto a lorry, and it takes literally 1 minute to 2 minutes as it drives into our facility. So again, massive savings there. We take off the road maybe 50 to 75 lorries per week by doing it that way. But also, the environmental savings go further than that. If you ship wine around the world and then bottle it in the local market, it gives you the opportunity to then look at other formats, certainly more environmentally formats like card, bag-in-box, even some of the more environmentally friendly pouches. And there's new innovation coming as well. There's more recyclable packages like paper bottle and also PET. The bulk wine industry allows you to have much more flexibility to do more of these sort of things.
Afternoon. And UK packing is also critically better for the UK economy. Figures from the UIV and the WSTA estimate that in 2016, bulk wine imports into the UK were close to 480 million litres. That's equivalent to just under 640 million bottles, representing around 35% of all wine imported into the UK. And if you look at that as just still numbers, that's closer to 40%. The import value of bulk wine in 2016 was just under £400 million. It's estimated that bulk wine accounts for £4 billion worth of the sales value of wine in the UK. This is responsible for generating around £7 billion worth in economic activity, £3.3 billion to the public finances, and also is responsible for 97,000 jobs across the UK supply chain. So it can't be underestimated how much of a hugely valuable industry this is to the UK economy. We also believe that UK packing is better for customers. By collaborating closely with suppliers and customers, UK packers are able to offer market-leading product availability and stock management. Shipping cost savings, forex management, and economies of scale, including sourcing of dry goods, enables us to offer improved margins for customers and better pricing for the consumer. UK bottling also supports corporate responsibility and environmental policies, working with bodies including RAP on meeting targets as part of the Quartile commitment. Environmental considerations are core to UK bottling, with Lanchester Wines investing heavily in renewable energy generation and Kingsland Drinks having been awarded the Drinks Business UK Green Company of the Year and Salford Business Awards Green Business of the Year 3 times. Insight-led development of product and branding puts the consumer at the heart of what we do, working with our customers to deliver products that meet their category needs. Kingsland has recognised changing dynamics in buying to be more category and consumer focused, with value-added services such as our proprietary insights tool WinePro to help producers and customers understand their end consumers and develop products which are fit for purpose. Bulk wine shipping also allows customers to differentiate from their competition with a strong and unique private label offer, something that I know was discussed by Clive Donaldson of Morrison's in his talk yesterday. By working with a consolidated supplier, our customers are able to rationalise their supply base and have a single point of contact for multiple countries from entry level right the way through to super premium. Kingsland Drinks also visits all of our key suppliers at least once a year, taking some of the pressure off busy buying teams and assisting with the likes of vintage planning, blending and audits. Ultimately, by working with a UK packer, suppliers and customers are working with a specialist in sourcing, bottling, design, packaging, marketing, logistics and sales. We also believe that UK packing is better for our producers. We asked a number of our suppliers why they chose to sell bulk wine and work with UK bottlers, and there were common themes across their responses, and these are some of the things that our producers specifically said. We believe in focusing on what we do best. Making wine is our area of expertise, bottling wine is yours. We produce wines up to a certain point, and from there, producers like Kingsland will take it a step or two further. Kingsland's state-of-the-art bottling facility gives us confidence that our wines will be presented in pristine condition and keeping consumers confident of the quality of the wines we produce. Working with a UK bottler allows the supplier to have best in-market representation and up-to-date information available. One contact is less complex and time-consuming than to interact with a number of retail customers, particularly on logistical aspects such as changing shipping schedules. Kingsland are a specialist partner who knows the market better and can give the producer direction in the styles of wines required, saving time and money on sampling and improving hit rate. Reviewing annual reserves regularly with any forecast or promotional changes enables the supplier to alter reserves at an early stage and avoid being crucially out of stock for the customer or have surplus wine at the end of vintage. But obviously one huge key consideration is the margin benefit, with suppliers saying that working with a UK packer can maximise their margins with nothing lost to a middleman. Costs of travel and related expenditures in marketing are largely avoided. They felt that you need a lot less staff to do the same volume of wine in bulk as you do when you're shipping packaged goods, and that they would need to have a sales team based in different markets visiting customers, which would lead to increased costs. By shipping wines in bulk, our producers believe they're able to deliver the best value for money supply chain possible by not shipping glass and packaging around the globe unnecessarily, which is also a much more environmentally supply chain. In addition, Kingsland's portfolio of wines from all over the world creates a one-stop shop for UK customers, both large and small, and gains access to customers that may be otherwise out of reach for some of our smaller producers. On to the slightly contentious bit now. UK packing is better for quality. We work closely with our producer partners, logistics providers, and customers to ensure that the products reach the end consumer exactly as intended and to the most exacting quality standards. Improvements in bulk shipping, handling, gas management, filtration and bottling practices have resulted in high standards of product integrity throughout the UK bottling industry. In independent third-party research conducted by Camden BRI and Wirral Sensory Services, bulk shipped and UK packed wines were preferred by consumers over the same wines pre-shipment or packed at source. Camden BRI undertook a triangle tasting of pre-shipment wines and post-bottling wines with experienced tasters who commented that the UK bottled samples were creamier, cleaner and more rounded, and had more varietal character evident with a greater length of flavour for a Chardonnay, and had more rounded with softer tannins and more flavour integration with a cleaner finish for a Shiraz. In independent research by Wirral Sensory Services of a leading wine brand of a UK packed versus the packed at source for the same wine, there was no perception of a detriment to quality of UK bottling, with the UK packed version being preferred for aroma characteristics and achieving a higher percentage score of those respondents who would probably or definitely purchase over the domestically packed wine from the same vintage. So producers, customers and consumers can be reassured that UK packing results in no detriment to quality.
Am I on? Oh, I am on. So ultimately, the key stakeholder that we should all be concerned about at the foremost of our thinking is the consumer. So let's see what the consumer thinks about when they are looking to purchase wine. Oh.
Mainly think about flavour when I'm purchasing a bottle of wine.
Price, probably the most important factor.
I look at the label.
If it's a nice occasion, it might be that I go for something that's more expensive, nicer flavours.
Label is something that I engage with.
I'd say the design, but also where it's from.
I tend to look where it comes from.
Broadly a price range, and then very definitely after that the label.
The general appeal of it.
I mainly look at price, to be honest.
Country. So if it's white, I like a Sauvignon, like a South African.
Whether it goes with the food that I'm eating.
Most of the time, the price.
Just depends if I just want a bottle of wine on a Friday night, I suppose. Something that's easy to drink. So, like a Sauvignon or Pickled Vino. Yeah.
If I'm completely honest, no.
No, I mean I'll look at the label and see where the wine originates from.
If I like the wine, I know what I like, so I'm not particularly bothered now.
In all honesty, I wouldn't say I do now.
It's not something that affects, how I choose a bottle of wine.
No, absolutely not.
No, not really.
I don't really think about where it's bottled.
Not really.
No, for me, as long as the wine tastes good and it looks presentable, no, that's fine by me.
Not sort of wine that I buy from the supermarket.
I don't really, that isn't something that I've ever really thought about.
So that's what the consumer thinks about when they're purchasing wine. And bulk wine shipping and bottling in the UK allows us with cost efficiencies to actually spend more time delivering what consumers actually want. And there's all adage about consumers, I've heard it quite a few times since I've been in the industry, that some consumers do care about where it's bottled and they really do think about it. They are a very, very, very small percentage of the marketplace. 95% of consumers in our research and our Wine Pro research that we've done over the last 3 years, when we've asked them the direct question, do you ever consider where wine's being bottled when you're purchasing it? Absolutely not in their consideration set. They're thinking about the occasions, they're thinking about what they're eating that night, they're thinking about what they're doing. These are all the things that they're thinking about when they're purchasing a bottle of wine off the shelf. That's where we should be spending all our time and focus. So hopefully we've, in the last 15 minutes, shared some of the key positive elements that bulk wine shipping and bottling in the local market delivers. So yes, we now think it's time. We don't accept any negativity. It is time to be proud of this part of this industry. We should all be positive about what it contributes, and we should all be talking about the good stuff. Thank you very much. Questions? I'll ask Paul a question, I'm only joking. Cheers. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Are you seeing prices on shelf of the end product changing at all over the last few years? Are they increasing? And what kind of price ranges products are you working with in the market? What kind of range of prices are they on shelf?
So, just for everyone who might not have heard that, I think the gentleman was just asking about the price ranges for bulk wines that are shipped into the UK and whether or not those prices have increased in the past few years.
Yeah, I guess I'm asking, is it premiumising?
Yes, I would say it has. There have been a number of things that have changed. I think technical aspects in terms of the handling, shipping have helped to improve quality perceptions. To some extent, there is a sort of a glass ceiling of perception within gatekeepers, which has helped to be broken down, and more premium wines are going on shelf. Also, the flexibility to ship in things like split flexi tanks or split pot ISOs have also helped, because one of the things, the difficulty is generating enough to be able to sell 5,200 cases worth of a wine. So those have certainly helped to do smaller batch sizes. I think I joined the wine industry in 2006, and even in that period of time, I've seen a considerable change. We're now regularly shipping wines that are retailing on a retail shelf for well above £10, £12. So that has certainly increased, and it's only something we see continuing to increase. Cheers.